Hello, everybody. I get the question from time to time, like, what caused you to come up with New World cuisine? What was the beginning of that? Where was your head at? And that's a good question. I was a cook for a long time before I ever thought about really being a chef. My interests were more in writing, songs and stories, primarily. I loved writers. And I loved writers that could take me places in my imagination. It may sound strange, but the writers who had the greatest effect on me in terms of coming up with the ideology of New World cuisine and having that real drive to create a sense of place were people like Thornton Wilder, who wrote the play Our Town, of which I was in a production in high school, so that probably was a reason why it stuck with me. William Faulkner, all of his books really had an effect on me, thinking about how a really small place could be magnified into a much greater place, as he did with the majority of his books that took place in a small place in Mississippi. And a more obscure writer, Sherwood Anderson, who wrote Winesburg, Ohio, also about a singular town in the Midwest. I'm from a singular town in the Midwest. These things were in my mind, and the ability to have a small circle of geography become magnified had a lot to do with me devoting myself to first Key West and then later to more of the totality of Florida. But a huge influence that did come over from the world of cuisine and the world of cooking was when I began to read the menus of Jeremiah Tower. And that the first place I read them was in this book, the Chez Panisse Menu Cookbook, which I got a copy of from the great Gordon Sinclair when he hired me in 1982, and he had dined here and come back with this book, actually with the previous version of this book. That book got so beat and swollen from me using it that it's in a safe place now. But Jeremiah's menus just were so different. They were so thematic. And they're just listed at the back of this book under memorable menus. A birthday dinner for the best palate we know. I wish I could read the whole thing to you. You'd see why he's probably saying it that way. An Alsatian regional dinner. Gertrude Stein, talk about literature. Gertrude Stein dinner. Starts off very simply with mushroom sandwiches, sole mousse with virgin sauce. I think that's a wink right there. Wild rice salad, a tender tart, cream perfect love. I think there's a lot of double entendre here. Louisiana Creole regional dinner. The next person who really affected me in this way, speaking of a regional Creole dinner, was Paul Prudhomme and his book, Louisiana Kitchen. I began to realize that as a chef, it was more about me creating a story and memories within that story than simply feeding people a random collection of dishes. I wanted to make something happen for them that made them see that there was a purposeful collection of dinner items that they were going to be experiencing when they came to dine with us. And I love the humor that Jeremiah and Alice, I'm sure, brought into this. Here's one called This Ain't No Spring Chicken Dinner. And instead, there's spring lamb. So it's the storytelling, and it's the arc of theater, and the magic that great art has the capacity to give us. And that was, in many ways, the genesis for what gave me the circle I wanted to wrap New World cuisine in. So that crossed my mind today. I just thought I'd share it with you. I'll see you all soon.